अवसर मिला और 10 साल कम नहीं होते, लेकिन 10 साल में उस दायित्व को निभाने में भी वे पूरी तरह विफल गए। और जब खुद विफल हो गए तो विपक्ष में और भी होनहार लोग हैं, उनको भी उभरने नहीं दिया, क्योंकि फिर मामला और गड़बड़ हो जाए। इसलिए हर बार यही करते रहे कि और भी विपक्षी जो तेजस्वी लोग हैं उनको दबा दिया जाए। हाउस में कई यंग हमारे माननीय सांसदगण हैं, उत्साह भी उमंग भी है, लेकिन अगर वो बोलें, उनकी छवि उभर जाए तो शायद किसी की छवि बहुत दब जाए। उस चिंता में इस यंग जनरेशन को मौका न मिले, हाउस को ही चलने नहीं दिए गए। यानी एक प्रकार से इतना बड़ा नुकसान कर दिया है, खुद का भी, विपक्ष का भी, संसद का भी और देश का भी। और इसलिए और मैं हमेशा चाहता हूं कि देश को एक स्वस्थ अच्छे विपक्ष की बहुत जरूरत है। आज विपक्ष की जो हालत होगी ना, इसकी सबसे दोषी कांग्रेस पार्टी है। कांग्रेस को एक अच्छा विपक्ष बनने का बहुत बड़ा अवसर मिला और 10 साल कम नहीं होते, लेकिन 10 साल में उस दायित्व को निभाने में भी वे पूरी तरह विफल गए। और जब खुद विफल हो गए तो विपक्ष में और भी होनहार लोग हैं, उनको भी उभरने नहीं दिया, क्योंकि फिर मामला और गड़बड़ हो जाए। इसलिए हर बार यही करते रहे कि और भी विपक्षी जो तेजस्वी लोग हैं उनको दबा दिया जाए। हाउस में कई यंग हमारे माननीय सांसदगण हैं, उत्साह भी उमंग भी है, लेकिन अगर वो बोलें, उनकी छवि उभर जाए तो शायद किसी की छवि बहुत दब जाए। उस चिंता में इस यंग जनरेशन को मौका न मिले, हाउस को ही चलने नहीं दिए गए। यानी एक प्रकार से इतना बड़ा नुकसान कर दिया है, खुद का भी, विपक्ष का भी, संसद का भी और देश का भी। कांग्रेस में एक कैंसिल कल्चर डेवलप हुआ है। कुछ भी है कैंसिल, कुछ भी है कैंसिल। ये एक ऐसे कैंसिल कल्चर में कांग्रेस फंस गई है। अगर हम कहते हैं मेक इन इंडिया तो कांग्रेस कहती है कैंसिल। हम कहते हैं आत्मनिर्भर भारत, कांग्रेस कहती है कैंसिल। हम कहते हैं वोकल फॉर लोकल, कांग्रेस कहती है कैंसिल। हम कहते हैं वंदे भारत ट्रेन, कांग्रेस कहती है कैंसिल। हम कहते हैं संसद की नई इमारत, कांग्रेस कहती है कैंसिल। यानी मैं हैरान हूं, ये कोई मोदी की उपलब्धियां नहीं है, देश की उपलब्धियां है। इतनी नफरत कब तक पाले रखोगे? और उसके कारण देश की सफलताएं, देश के अचीवमेंट, उसको भी कैंसिल करके आप बैठ गए हो। आदरणीय अध्यक्ष जी, भाजपा सरकार की काम करने की स्पीड, हमारे लक्ष्य कितने बड़े होते हैं, हमारा हौसला कितना बड़ा होता है, वो आज पूरी दुनिया देख रही है। और आदरणीय अध्यक्ष जी, एक कहावत है हमारे उत्तर प्रदेश में, खास एक कहावत कही जाती है, 9 दिन चले 2.5 कोस। और मुझे लगता है कि ये कहावत पूरी तरह कांग्रेस को परिभाषित कर देती है। ये कांग्रेस की सुस्त रफ्तार, कांग्रेस की सुस्त रफ्तार का कोई मुकाबला नहीं। आज देश में जिस रफ्तार से काम हो रहा है, कांग्रेस सरकार इस रफ्तार की कल्पना भी नहीं कर सकती है।
All right, the Prime Minister setting the tone for Lok Sabha 2024. Let's quickly cut across to Moshmi, my colleague, joining us right outside Parliament, joining me in the studio, consulting editor Rajdeep Sardesai. We'll also be joined by Sanjay Singh, consulting editor, and Rashid Kidwai, political analyst. Let's cut across to Moshmi first. Moshmi, break it down for us. What were the reactions opposite the Treasury benches? Prime Minister's big assault in his final speech this tenure from the Treasury benches.
Preeti, it was a very attacking speech and we could hear some jeering and some condemnation from the opposition benches. But with the absence of Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi present, Prime Minister Narendra Modi in fact showcased the Congress party as a hopeless party without a vision, its own cadre and leaders looking for the Raj Sabha route, many of them not even wanting to contest elections. Also went on to elaborate about how family politics had destroyed not only the hopes of millions of the countrymen and women, but also of the Congress, devastated the Congress party, and the likes of Kharge and Azad were actually, their careers were destroyed. So, you know, and even talking about the fact that how relaunch of Rahul Gandhi, the party was obsessed with that. It was how it was running a party was in slow motion with several schemes. If it was for UPA, would have been implemented in decades or more than 60 years. So ideally, you know, the Congress party, we would have heard a lot of commotion, a lot of noise, but it was left to Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, sometimes to Gaurav Gogoi, to actually hit back. And the fact that Prime Minister Narendra Modi yet again, in I think one of the most attacking speeches, a very election speech, you know, attacked the internal core of the Congress party, that is the dynastic politics, talking about Nehru, talking about Indira Gandhi, and how they really didn't believe in the idea of India and didn't have confidence and had a very demeaning attitude towards the Indian citizens. And therefore, you know, the Congress party had very little to hit back.
Well, you know, maybe interesting, the Congress really doesn't have much bench strength where the Lok Sabha is concerned in any case, and definitely not very, you know, good speakers on that account. But having said that, Moshmi, stay with me. Let's bring in our guest this evening, Rajdeep Sardesai. You know, there was nothing else expected from this speech. It had to be an out-and-out election speech. His final speech this term in Parliament, taking on Nehru, taking on Indira Gandhi, multiple times, taking on Rahul Gandhi as well.
You know, I saw your slug saying fiercest attack of Prime Minister Modi since 2014. The fact is, every attack of his, go through all his speeches in Parliament, have been an attack on the opposition. There's a familiar trope, and let me tell you what the trope is. Parivarvad equals Gandhis, corruption equals Congress, Viksit Bharat equals Modi, and Namdar versus Kamdar. Now, we've heard this before. He was just a little bit more aggressive about it. It was classical populist demagoguery for which Mr. Modi is very practiced, where he claims in a way to stand for the people, the citizens, versus the old elite represented by the Congress. He reflects upon his achievements, but places them in contrast to a pre-India of 2014. Almost as if India was an area of darkness before 2014, that there was Mehengai, there was Garibi, and all of that is changing after 2014. Interestingly, names Nehru about a dozen times, names Indira a couple of times. You're right. In the past, he's never really targeted Indira Gandhi. This time, even Indira Gandhi was drawn in. But the Nehru obsession in particular is alive, well and truly kicking. When you look at Nehru's speeches from Red Fort in 1949-50, India was in a very different place. But Mr. Modi wants to juxtapose himself in a way and contrast himself to Prime Minister Modi. I thought, Preeti, his analysis of the Congress was very interesting. If I was an edit page writer, I'd say Mr. Modi could write a good editorial on the Congress party, because he's right. when he suggests it revolves around a Shahi Parivar, when it's seen to be entitled, lazy, slow motion. I think all these criticisms have been made by the Congress, by many of us, and Mr. Modi is echoing them. What is interesting is he stayed away from attacking regional parties. So when the Prime Minister speaks about 370 seats for the BJP, 400 for the allies, he's effectively also wooing, I think, some of the regional parties or some of the floating parties who could be part of a post-poll NDA coalition. So you're right, it's an election speech, but it's a speech that also seeks to define what the personality cult of Prime Minister Modi represents, a sense of this muscular nationalism that has defined Prime Minister Modi over the last decade.
You know, Sanjay Singh, I want to bring you in, holding no prisoners at all, attacking the Gandhis in particular. But one thing was made very clear. He steered clear, other than just once, talking about how, you know, this India alliance is not really coming in together. Other than that, he focused his attack clearly on the Congress party and not so much on the India alliance.
See, the politics is bipolar as it is. The BJP leads one pole and Congress leads another pole. BJP knows that Congress is down and Rahul Gandhi's Nyaya Yatra is not gathering any traction. In fact, India alliance is kind of withering away. As it is, Congress is, there are a whole lot of other problems in Congress. But Congress is one party where you'll find a Congress worker in every nook and corner across the country. And the Congress has the potential, as he says, for next few decades, you are going to sit there. But who after those next few decades, if at all we are, hypothetically, we are going to believe that next few decades are going to be difficult for Congress. Now that psyche to break Congress, to talk about Nehru, to talk about, because Nehru and Indira Gandhi were a revered figure. So till such time you attack at the very foundation and also the current leadership, that is of Rahul Gandhi, motor mechanic bhi aajkal ho gaye hain, but their own alignment, despite learning motor mechanic's role, the own alignment is faulty. Rahul Gandhi had gone to Karol Bagh to a bullet bike store, to bullet mechanic store, and therefore he had also gone to Carpenter's place.
Multiple attacks on Rahul Gandhi, but not naming Rahul Gandhi. He's never really named Rahul Gandhi, but he's taken many a jibes at him on many a speeches before. But having said that, you know, bringing you in, Rashid Kidwai, in all of this, Rashid Kidwai, you know, what's a little, you know, bewildering in all of this is the kind of speeches made by the Congress on the floor of the House. You have an Adhiranjan Chaudhary who's still going on like a broken record on Balakot and trying to talk about how Balakot never happened.
Absolutely. I think Preeti, in terms of propriety, just as Prime Minister, you know, should have referred to, I mean, he's referred to, but his speech was on the motion of thanks. And of course, he made, as Rajdeep was saying, he made a very fabulous, I would say, a powerful political speech. Mr. Rahul Gandhi, who's a member of Parliament of Lok Sabha, he should have been present. If he had not spoken, he would have been far more effective than this his Bharat Jodo Yatra. I think the Prime Minister has made a very, a strong pitch for anti-Parivarwad, but his formulation is a bit problematic, because if somebody is a son or daughter of a prominent politician, then that person is considered, first among equals. You cannot say, you look at the Congress party. The Congress has a Dalit, Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge. What happens behind the scene is altogether different. Somebody can say the same thing about Mr. JP Nadda also. Because Mr. Modi's credibility is very high, unki saakh hai. So whatever he says, it sticks. And the Congress is itself to be blamed, because Congress, good orators who are there in the Lok Sabha, they don't speak, or they're not allowed to speak. I don't know. There is so much of the Shashi Tharoor, there is Manish Tiwari, there is, of course, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, who should have led from
Shashi Tharoor, Manish Tiwari, and they never end up speaking. And when Adhiranjan speaks, for 15 minutes of his speech, he speaks on Balakot when you've already lost an election on Balakot. So, Rajdeep, I want to bring you in all of this. Here the Prime Minister is taking on the Congress, putting it on the mat, and on the other hand, you have people like Adhiranjan Chaudhary who are still trying to justify Balakot never happened after having lost 2019 to Balakot.
Look, I've said this on countless occasions. The Congress party has never missed an opportunity to miss an opportunity in the last decade. And a appointing a leader of the Lok Sabha was one of them. Ideally, if Rahul Gandhi wanted to take on Prime Minister Modi, he should have been the leader of the Lok Sabha. And if he was not, he should have had a very effective speaker like a Shashi Tharoor or a Manish Tiwari, Manish being bilingual, to perhaps be in that post. You choose an Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary who has other skills, but those skills do not include his parliamentary performance. Look, at the moment, it's a no contest. It's a no contest for the simple reason, and that's why I said the Prime Minister has understood the Congress very well. It is a party which is entitled. It is a party where a number of its leaders have looked for the Rajya Sabha route to get into Parliament. It's a party that's been lazy. In last 10 years, the Congress has made no attempt to revive itself, even though they've had opportunities where they could have put the government on the mat. So I think the Prime Minister, in a way, is using the Congress to target the entire opposition because he knows the Congress is the kamzor
But
kadi.
is he targeting the entire opposition, Rajdeep? Because Sanjay Singh, I'll bring you in on this, and maybe you go first, Rajdeep. The fact is, he's trying to build this as a contest between the BJP and the Congress.
That's right.
It's not a contest between the BJP and the India Alliance.
That's right. That's what you see, he's using the Congress to, in a way, pitch the battle as BJP versus Congress, or in his case, Namdar versus Kamdar. It worked in 2014, it worked in 2019, and thereby, in a way, also bring in the rest of the opposition, such as it is at the moment. When he said, for example, a number of them have enforcement directorate cases, we will go after them. He's signaling to them that, look, I have you on the mat, and I'm going to use this election in a way to completely decimate the opposition. There are those, though, who I call the floaters, who he may wish to attract. They could be individuals, they could be parties, post-poll. So you bring yourself to 400. Look, this is a Prime Minister who's convinced of his own invincibility, and therefore, the speech reflected that sense of confidence that he has that 2024 is a done deal.
Well, Sanjay Singh, final comment there. There seems to be now a clear understanding, crystal clear understanding that this is going to be built, at least, optics-wise, as a contest between the Congress and the BJP, which suits the Bharatiya Janata Party, to take on Rahul Gandhi over and over again, leading, this charge in 2024.
Yeah, the common perception is Rahul Gandhi is biggest campaigner for the BJP. That thing, of course, goes. But his speech, him not referring to the other regional parties, except once when he said that Adhir Ranjan ji jahan se aate hain, from the place where he comes, you have seen vats of currency notes out there. But then there is an effort on their part, the part of BJP, to deal with regional parties in different states. Even if they are political opponents, they are trying to win them away so that the hostility of some political parties are minimized, or at least that hostility is minimized. And if at all Mr. Modi is moving to the third term, and if he can deliver on the ground, if that's what he called in his first term as cooperative federalism, and if that part can make some movement in that direction, that would be a huge thing to Modi's credit. Also, during the elections, it is you pick somebody, Congress is aligned with, say, in the Tamil Nadu.
I just want to take a quick comment by Rashid Kidwai, and we're going to end this. We're going to end this this bulletin there. But Rashid Kidwai, I want to pull you in on this. What's also interesting in all of this is, yes, he's attacked the Gandhis one by one, taking on everyone. Usually hasn't gone behind Indira Gandhi, but he has this time around. But away from all of that, he's also taking on what the Congress is building as its own narrative this election. On when it comes down to the OBC vote, multiple occasions he has taken on the Congress in this very speech.
Yes, I think Preeti, somewhere he views, the other regional parties, and some of them have been the BJP's former allies, and some of them are potential allies. So, and some of them do not, like parties like Aam Aadmi Party and all, do not have that kind of political baggage that Congress has. Remember, if there is a contest, I mean, I agree with Rajdeep that 2024 doesn't look like much of a contest, but people have a choice that people will go to Congress, but they look up to Congress, and therefore Mr. Modi just wants to demolish. He doesn't want to give them any chance of, Congress even crossing 100 seats or given to him, even 50 seats. So that is his line of attack. And the Congress has itself to blame because the social justice plan, there is a big mismatch between what the leader thinks, that being Rahul Gandhi, and what the, cadres or other leaders are thinking. So there is no, seamless, there is no synergy, there is no alignment on that count. So therefore, Mr. Modi is getting away. As I said, his credibility is very high and his opponents are very weak and there's very disjointed.
All right, I appreciate all three gentlemen for joining us. One thing, whether you like it, whether you don't like it, but at least the narrative is crystal clear when it comes down to the Bharatiya Janata Party and the Prime Minister. We're going to take it forward in a political debate on the other side, and to the point. Do stay with us.
I heard of India's foreign policy is that some in the West think of this as a form of monkey balancing, that we continue to want to further the interests of the Quad countries and at the same time want to be a part of BRICS.
It's a mind game. This is to make you limit your options while they maximize their options. We are much more hard-headed about our own interests. We are much more confident.
Now, Minister Jaishankar, I know that you like racket sports. Oh, not bad. I see you got a mean serve going. Chance to do anything else apart from foreign policy nowadays, Dr. Jaishankar?
I do a lot of domestic policy.
Now your competitive side is also coming out. Oh my God.
A political fight takes an ugly turn in Ulhasnagar in Maharashtra. BJP MLA Ganpat Gaikwad allegedly opened fire inside the Hillgate police station. 10 rounds of bullets were allegedly fired from 2 different revolvers during this fight.
Dog.
Shiv Sena and BJP leaders, both allies in the ruling coalition, had gathered with supporters at the Hill Line police station to file a complaint over a long-pending land dispute. The situation escalated. Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis has ordered a high-level probe.
कुठल्या पक्षाचा आहे याचा विचार न करता त्या ठिकाणी कायदेशीरच कारवाई केली जाईल. अशी कुठली घटना घडली की पोलीस स्टेशनमध्ये गोळीबार झाला याचंही सत्य आपल्याला त्या ठिकाणी काढावं लागेल. म्हणून मी या संदर्भात वरिष्ठ स्तरावरून चौकशीचे आदेश डीजींना दिलेले आहेत आणि या संदर्भात अत्यंत कडक कारवाई ही केली जाईल.
The opposition has hit out at the Maharashtra government.
Incident of firing happened inside the chamber of the senior police inspector. You can see the glass door right inside the premises. The shooting took place and 2 guns were confiscated that were used, revolvers. About 10 bullets were fired, 6 and 4 respectively. So also you can try and understand in terms of the animosity and the enmity between the 2 persons. The accused person is in custody and has been arrested.
With Dev Kotak in Thane, Bureau Report, India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
So speaking of Nehru, you would have seen how you've come under personal attack from a lot of contemporary Nehruvians like Jairam Ramesh or P. Chidambaram who accuse you. They acknowledge your intellectual pedigree but accuse you of intellectual dishonesty, saying you used to dance around Nehruvians for plum postings back in your day. You've seen those kind of personal attacks coming your way, saying that you're doing a lot just to appease those you serve right now. How do you respond to these personal charges, Minister?
It's very difficult to people who themselves danced around that people like me passed an exam, joined a government. Surely it cannot be anybody's case that postings in the government were all done for political reasons. I mean, for a large part of our careers, I assume nobody in politics really knew who we people were. So I think this is in a way to be expected, at least from some of these people. I'm being questioning. To my mind, nations grow by being questioning. I mean, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, I think it will be, to me, perfectly legitimate. Somebody will question this era and say maybe, choices which were made by the people who today are in government could have been better. These were alternatives. I think that's really how polities evolve. Let us worship that era. Nothing could have gone wrong. Questioning it is somehow heresy of some kind. You have now elevated foreign policy to some kind of theology. For me, what were the early choices on Pakistan? What was our early reading of China? What was our early approach to the United States? Three very important relationships which are still crucial today. I am making the point, even at that time, there were people who put forward certain alternatives. By the way, I'm not even saying who's right and who's wrong. But I think people of this era should know that there were alternatives. Because what has happened is, due to this kind of worshipping attitude, we've all brought up to believe, Indian foreign policy was some kind of great wisdom. That was the only thing, it unfolded. There could have been no other choice than the ones we did. If we didn't succeed somewhere, the world was at fault. We were never at fault. We didn't misread China. They betrayed us. I mean, there's a whole cover-up narrative in many ways.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Co-powered by PolicyBazaar.com. हर फैमिली होगी इंश्योर्ड.
Good evening, viewers. You're watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Choudhary. Today, the Prime Minister spoke for the final time this tenure from the Treasury benches in Parliament. This was setting the roadmap, the narrative for 2024. For the first time in one of the most scathing of speeches, the Prime Minister took on even Indira Gandhi. He's named and attacked Nehru before multiple times without naming. He's taken on Rahul Gandhi. This time, he took no prisoners. From Nehru to Indira to Rahul Gandhi to the India alliance. But he made clear that this contest is not so much with BJP versus the India alliance, but BJP versus the Congress.
एक ही प्रोडक्ट बार बार लॉन्च करने के चक्कर में कांग्रेस की दुकान ताला लगने की नौबत आ गई है। और ये दुकान हम नहीं कह रहे, आप लोग कह रहे हैं। आप लोग कहते हैं दुकान खोली है, सब जगह पे बोलते हैं। दुकान को ताला लगने की बात आई। लाल किले से भारत के प्रथम प्रधानमंत्री ने जो कहा था वो पढ़ रहा हूँ, नेहरू जी ने। उन्होंने कहा था, हिंदुस्तान में काफ़ी मेहनत करने की आदत आम तौर से नहीं है। ये न समझिए कि वह कौमें कोई जादू से खुशहाल हो गई। वो मेहनत से हुई है और अक्ल से हुई है। ये उनको सर्टिफिकेट दे रहे हैं, भारत के लोगों को नीचा दिखा रहे हैं। यानी नेहरू जी की भारतीयों के प्रति सोच थी कि भारतीय आलसी है। नेहरू जी की भारतीयों के लिए सोच थी कि भारतीय कम अक्ल के लोग होते हैं। इंदिरा जी ने जो लाल किले से लाल किले से 15 अगस्त को कहा था, लाल किले से 15 अगस्त को इंदिरा जी ने कहा था, दुर्भाग्यवश हमारी आदत ये है कि जब कोई शुभ काम पूरा होने को होता है तो हम आत्मतुष्टि की भावना से ग्रस्त हो जाते हैं और जब कोई कठिनाई आ जाती है तो हम ना उम्मीद हो जाते हैं। कभी कभी तो ऐसा लगने लगता है कि पूरे राष्ट्र ने ही पराजय भावना को अपना लिया है। आज कांग्रेस के लोगों को देख करके लगता है कि इंदिरा जी भले देश के लोगों का आकलन सही न कर पाए, लेकिन कांग्रेस का एकदम सटीक आकलन उन्होंने किया।
So this was the Prime Minister today setting the narrative for 2024. But let's also listen in to Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, who spoke in Rajya Sabha earlier.
एक-एक को नोटिस देना, डराना, धमकाना, उसकी दोस्ती अगर नहीं छोड़ेंगे फिर हम देख लेंगे। डर के कोई दोस्ती छोड़ रहा है, कोई पार्टी छोड़ रहा है, कोई गठबंधन छोड़ रहा है। अरे इतने डरपोक लोग अगर रहे तो क्या यह मुल्क बचेगा? क्या यह संविधान बचेगा?
All right, let's cut across to Tuhin Sinha, National Spokesperson, Bharatiya Janata Party, and Dr. Shama Mohammed, National Spokesperson, Congress. Dr. Mohammed, coming to you first, the Prime Minister this time was expected to make an election speech, his final speech in Parliament, Treasury benches before elections 2024. From Nehru to Indira Gandhi to Rahul Gandhi. Ms. Mohammed, the Prime Minister took no prisoners but made it very clear that this election will be BJP versus the Congress, not so much BJP versus India.
Preeti, today was the most disgusting, despicable and nauseating speech of the Prime Minister of India. And I'll tell you why. He goes after Nehru. Nowhere in the world, any democracy, any Prime Minister or President goes after their first Prime Minister or President. Nehru fought the independence. Let's understand that. He was a freedom fighter. He was more than 10 years in jail. Prime Minister Modi cannot even come near his feet. Let me tell you that today on national TV, not near his feet. He is the architect of India. We had partition at that point of time, strife. We were a very, very poor nation. He built it up with steel plants, dams, institutions, ISRO, AIMS, I can go on. And for farmers, how we improved the agriculture. There were a lot of issues. We didn't have anything. And then this man goes after a freedom fighter because we understand the RSS did not have freedom fighters. RSS did not have any of those. So, number two, Karpuri Thakur, he talks about it and says, look what the Congress has done. I don't know if he knows history, but the government was supported by the Jan Sangh. The minute 26% reservation was passed in 1978 by the Karpuri Thakur government, immediately the RSS started protesting and saying, is this his mother's birthright? And the government fell because RSS and the Jan Sangh pulled the plug. Number three, he says, from the ramparts of the Red Fort, look what Nehru is saying. From the ramparts of the Red Fort, what did the Prime Minister say? Take care of your women. Keep them safe. Shameless Prime Minister of India. What did you do for the wrestlers? He speaks about Nari Shakti. I was shocked. The wrestlers who are our stars, they were begging you for justice. And that member of parliament is still inside parliament, even now, Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh. Have you taken any action? Have you taken any action against Pragya Thakur, who called God se Desh Bhakta hai rahenge? Inside the parliament, God says a terrorist. If Pragya Thakur calls a terrorist a Deshbhakt, then Pragya Thakur is a terrorist. I'm saying that on national television. What action has he taken? He talks about corruption. I want to ask him, who has been convicted? from the Congress party? You talk about there were corruption issues in Parliament discussed at that point of time. Yes, you brought in the corruption issues. If we saw to it that there is an allegation, we asked the minister to step down, and there was a probe. That's what we did. Not like you, who went just after the opposition. A. Raja, who is the one who initiated the probe against him, a CBI probe, a sitting minister of us? We, not you. And he's innocent. There was no scam. That's what the Supreme Court said.
Is it a monologue? Can I come in?
2G. We all know that. Where has a congressman been convicted? So I can go on and
I want to bring you in on this. Dr. Mohammed, you've had your time. I want to give the same time to Mr. Tuhin Sinha. You'll get the same time, sir. Please don't worry. But Mr. Sinha, come in. You know, the charge by the Congress says after today's speech of the Prime Minister, it does seem to suggest that before 2014, India was living in the dark ages.
You know, good evening, Preeti. Preeti, just 2 days ago, we heard a despicable speech from Kharge addressing his own karyakartas, you know, comparing them with dogs in the process of selection to the Congress party with the purchase of pets. Now, to understand where Congress derives this mentality, this self-condescending mentality, this flagelling mentality, it was important to remind the people of this country that even Nehru at one point of time would, you know, would very brazenly call Indian lazy. And it's a fact. You hear his 1959 speech from the ramparts of Red Fort. And that is one of the reasons why India always moved at a very tardy pace till 2014. Now, point number two, you know, just 3 days ago, they were talking about one of the senior leaders, D.K. Suresh, was demanding a separate nation for South India. Where does Congress derive this divisive mentality? And therefore, while asserting our achievements, it was important to show Congress the mirror. It was important to tell them why they have become redundant today. And it's a fact that, you know, the Bharat Jodo Yatra or Bharat Nyaya Yatra cannot rise above the rebranding of a failed leader under whom Congress has touched its nadir. And probably in these elections will go below 40 seats. They talk about OBC empowerment. They talk about OBC census. But fact is, in the two states where they apparently did a census, in Chhattisgarh and Karnataka, they didn't even have the courage to make it public because they knew it was fudged. So this divisive mentality of the Congress party had to be called out. How many members were there in the National Advisory Council of Sonia Gandhi? None. So I think, you know, the Congress needs to realize by calling a country Dukan, first of all, they make the entire relationship with the people of this country transactional, which we have a problem with. Please don't call it.
Tuhin Sinha, there's a problem with your audio line.
Or whatever, forget calling it Dukan.
All right, okay. Shama Mohammed, you know, you might suggest that the Congress... No, sir.
Know how to treat the Congress party.
Okay, so I'll cut across to Dr. Mohammed, I'll come back to you. But Shama Mohammed, you know, the Prime Minister might have said whatever, but the narrative is crystal clear. You know, he set it where 2024 is concerned. But I'll come back to somebody like an Adhiranjan Chaudhary. Ma'am, for 15 minutes today in Lok Sabha, he went on about Balakot. That was an issue on which you've already lost an election in 2019. Why rake it up now?
See, Pulwama, what happened? They said it was an intelligence failure. Do we have a report on how 42 CRPF were killed? Do we have a report? I want to know about it. What happened? How did that car with more than 200 kgs of RDX come there? We don't know. We don't know anything about it. There should be a report to find out how was there an intelligence failure. Nobody talks about it. So this is a democracy where we cannot question. Number one, he says 25 crore people have been taken out of poverty. I wanted to laugh. When we, from 2014 to 2004 to 14, took out 27 crore people out of poverty, it is now the Congress party which said that it was Oxfam and the United Nations. He's giving we are 140 crore and 80 crore people gets free food. You know that. That's what he says. Hum 80 crore logon ko de rahe hai. So I want to ask him, then how have you taken 25 crore people out of poverty? What is he talking about? So this is the problem. It's all lies. He talks about mehengai. How ridiculous. We all know the gas price, you know it, before 2014 was 424 rupees. Now it's about 1,000. When the world oil prices around $75 to $80 a barrel, at that point of time, it was $104 a barrel. We were giving petrol at 75 and diesel at 50. Let's understand that. So the excise duty for petrol was 9 and for diesel was 3, respectively. So you can't come and lie. People know that it's very expensive. When we were there, the unemployment rate was 4%. Now it's 10%. So why did he not speak a word on employment? We had an average GDP in 10 years of 8.4. Their average GDP is 5.7 in the last 10 years. So you can keep on talking, but you have to stop lying. Indians know that when you're lying. That's what I want to know is where did this thing come? Humne महंगाई को control करके रखा है. Yes, for the rich. What about the 5% GST on dal, atta, ghee, curd, milk?
Okay.
And nobody talks about that. So the Prime Minister of India has been lying continuously and constantly. He has called Wayanad. He talked about DK Shivkumar's brother. The Prime Minister of India has called Kerala Somalia. And the Home Minister has called Wayanad Pakistan. I mean, that's an insult. So you talk about divide. You've been dividing. Now what you're doing in Kerala is dividing the Christians and the Muslims there. We know what you do. So divide and rule is done by you. You are the East India Company who's been doing divide Hindu, Muslims, Dalit, and the upper caste. That's what you've been doing. So divide and rule
Tuhin Sinha, the
is
charge
the
is
BJP's
also,
ploy. That's what they do.
you know, sometimes it's the arrogance which gets the better of you is the charge by the Congress. Possibly, the final speech this tenure from the Treasury benches could have been a little more dignified and less attacking and political.
You know, more than arrogance, I would say, you know, we've run out of patience with this illogical and data challenged opposition. You know, let me enlighten them with some data. Our retail inflation figure at no point, even in the worst of months, has gone beyond 6%. During the UPA 2 era, for almost half of the months of UPA 2 era, it was in the range of 10%. So I think they shouldn't be lecturing us on inflation. Number two, 70,000 kilometers of national highway, 75 new airports, 600 kilometers of metro lines. Like the Prime Minister reminded, if we had to move at the pace of this Congress party, it would have taken us many, many decades and probably 4 generations. So that is the change which this country is witnessing right now. And finally, since they always accuse us of breaking their party, let me ask them point blank, did we take away Milind Deora? Are we, you know, there was a report recently in Maharashtra that Baba Siddiqui is supposed to join Ajit Pawar. Are we responsible for that? Fact is that anybody who wants a future does not relate with this Congress party. There is only and only darkness in this Congress party because of Rahul Gandhi's yatra to nowhere. He's only obsessed with himself. So don't blame us. People are going to join any other party apart from Congress
that's
party.
a charge which could be echoed by many of your own supporters, which seems to suggest that the party is only looking to reinvent one person, one brand, miserably and failing.
No, what we do with our party is our business. For us, our leader is Rahul Gandhi, and it's not some rebranding. He is going to the people, talking to them. You understand? He wants to know Janta ki baat, because right now media does not want to cover anything. Media is one-sided after 2014. Not you or particularly, but the general media. It's what the Prime Minister wants to be aired. Here, there is a Prime Minister of India who says Man ki baat. He speaks, nobody can ask him questions. We can't ask him questions in Parliament. He's the only Prime Minister of India who does not attend Parliament and only attends when he speaks. Have you ever seen him attending when others speak? I remember Manmohan Singh ji during the 2G and various issues. Days, weeks in Parliament. Here he does not. So Rahul Gandhi ji, what he is doing is going to people and asking what their problems are, knowing that he's saying that I am there for you. We will bring about the change. These are the policy decisions we will take when we come to power.
But Dr. Mohammed, that's the charge by Tuhin Sinha, that change is not happening. You're not seeing it on ground. You're not seeing that kind of support.
His Man ki baat has to stop. It's an arrogant, he's a dictator, and there is undeclared emergency in this country. And we all know that only he talks about corruption. I want to ask him, we didn't say Ajit Pawar is corrupt. He said that Ajit Pawar is corrupt. Then why did he stop the investigation? Why not stop the investigation on Subindu Adhikari? Why stop the investigation on Narayan Rane? Why stop the investigation on
please respond, then I'm going to close the show.
So why don't you look at the corrupt inside you?
You know,
okay, Tuhin Sinha.
You know, there are 5,000 plus investigations which unfortunately have not...
Allow Mr. Sinha to have. Go ahead.
Which unfortunately have not moved beyond a point because these are complex. The nature of money laundering is very complex. So there are 5,000 plus cases. Please don't cherry pick like this. And if you are so sure about these charges that you make, about these baseless charges that you make, I'm challenging you. You have the government in Karnataka. You used to campaign about 40% Sarkara. Use the ACB, the Anti-Corruption Bureau in the state, to go after BJP leaders. But you can't do that because you know that you have no, basis for those claims. fact is that this Congress party was honest about the feedback it was getting. It would not embark upon this useless Bharat Nyay Yatra because the feedback they get on the ground is very different.
All right, 10
they know
seconds,
that Nyay
Shahbaz
has
Mohammed,
happened
then
in
I'm
the last
closing the
10
show.
years.
All
They
right,
know
okay,
that
10
this country has
seconds.
never been more united than it has been in the 10 years. So at least
All right,
quit
Mr.
this
Sinha.
Yatra, which is not getting any response. Maybe your fate would be better. We are concerned about you people. We want you responsible
about
about
10 seconds, Miss Mohammed. Go ahead.
5,000 odd money laundering cases. Where is the conviction, Tuhin? Stop simply coming and lying out here. Where is the conviction?
You have done
23
a
people
great
convicted
disservice
after
to this
5,000 cases.
nation.
That is what
Okay.
the ED
You know
is
what I'm
doing.
going to do
Let
is
me ask you
I
that.
appreciate
In
I
Karnataka,
appreciate
the
both
Construction Union
our
wrote
guests
a
for
letter
joining
to
us.
Prime
Thank
Minister
you. Thank you. It will be a conversation which will go on in days to come from here on. But today, the Prime Minister's final speech, viewers, in this tenure from the Treasury benches. It was, as expected, an all-out election speech. Politically explosive, could be said as one of the most scathing. This election is going to be an interesting one, is all we can say. A quick break to stay with us.
जो देश के अंदर में भारत में केंद्र सरकार का महाराज जो बैठा हुआ है, किस तरह से केंद्रीय एजेंसी को उपयोग किया है, हमारा 2019 का मुख्यमंत्री हेमंत सोरेन का पूर्व मुख्यमंत्री हेमंत सोरेन का नेतृत्व में जनादेश प्राप्त हुआ, पूर्ण बहुमत का सरकार बना। और मुख्यमंत्री रहते हुए जमीन का घोटाले के बाद जिसका खाता ना बही में लिखा हुआ हेमंत बाबू के नाम पर, और उसी के नाम पर आज उनको जेल तक जाना पड़ा। हम उस समय याद हमको आता है कि आज झारखंड के इतिहास को हम याद करते हैं, जब जब यहाँ का आदिवासी नेतृत्व, आदिवासी और दलित मूलवासी का लिए नेतृत्व क्षमता बढ़ाते हैं, उस समय उसको हर तरह का शिकंजा ये करके उस नेतृत्व को दबाने का प्रयास करते हैं। ये देश जान चुका है, एक एक जनता जान चुका है, ईडी, सीबीआई, आईटी किस चीज के लिए ये लोग, सिर्फ सत्ता, भाजपा के सरकार को बचाने के लिए, केंद्र से राज्य को में अपना सत्ता बनाने के लिए दुरुपयोग, ये लोकतंत्र के लिए बहुत बड़ा खतरा है।
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
When the Ram temple consecration event was to happen, the Congress came forward and mentioned that its senior leaders will not go for that event in Ayodhya. Do you think it could have handled the entire, the perception around that in a better manner?
No, I think that the perception was probably manipulated by the ruling party, because we at no stage have said anything negative about either the Hindu religion or about Ram Lalla or about Ayodhya. What we have said very simply is that this particular occasion on the 22nd of January has been essentially politicized. And you have the Prime Minister, who is no Purohit, conducting the Prana Pratishtha. And we felt, therefore, that to go there would be to be complicit in a political exercise of the ruling party. Why would we want to do that? But it does not mean that we are relinquishing Ram to the BJP. As somebody who has prayed to Ram from his childhood onwards, I'm not going to surrender my Ram to the BJP. I don't think BJP has any copyright on Ram or any other manifestation of the divine. As far as I'm concerned, I will choose my own time to go to a temple. It probably will have nothing to do with politics, because I go to temples to pray. I don't go and do politics. So I can go after the elections or whenever I want. Suddenly for them to say that because we didn't come, we are anti-Hindu is absurd. 80% of India is Hindu, 80% of the Congress is also Hindu. We have absolutely no reason whatsoever to subscribe to the view that that Hinduism is defined by participation in a BJP-conducted exercise starring the Prime Minister. I don't think that's necessarily Hinduism.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Presented by RP Sanjeev Goenka Group, Growing Legacies. Co-presented by Century Laminates by Manish Malhotra, fashion for your furniture.
Co-presented by
New Kia Sonet, the Wild Reborn.
Co-presented by
Macho Hind, Bade Aaram Se.
Co-powered by
The Bold Look of Kohler.
Hello and welcome. It's not often that you have serving foreign ministers writing books on foreign policy. Dr. Jaishankar has done this twice over. He had the India Way and now he has his second book out, Why Bharat Matters. And I'm here at Nehru Park, ironically of all places, to talk to India's current External Affairs Minister, Dr. Jaishankar, about Indian foreign policy, which you're pivoting as far away from Nehru Park as is possible. So the irony of all places to end up at the Nehru Park to talk about why you believe much more in the Patel way than you do in the Nehru way.
Well, it's a great pleasure, and I'm very agnostic about parks in which I walk. I'm quite all right with the people with whom I walk. I think that's more important. But yes, it's a great pleasure to be with you.
So the title of your book is Why Bharat Matters. So let me get you to summarize the contents for those who haven't got down to reading it yet. In your opinion, on the global high table, why does Bharat matter at the moment?
I think for a variety of reasons, and you'll get the full message when you read the book. One, we are today a much larger economy. That's a starting point. Fifth largest economy, will be the third largest in the next few years. The quality, the talent of our people, which is today in a sense being, you can say, being unleashed, being nurtured and put out there, which matters more in a more tech-centric world. So as there is a global workplace, as technology becomes more important, the people will matter, and I think Indian talent is today beginning to make a difference across the world. The third is actually, in a way, we are getting our act together. We are getting our act together in India. So you can see much greater interest in the part of the rest of the world. One part of it is, of course, they want to work with us, they obviously want to interested in the Indian market. But the other part is they appreciate the contributions we are making. It can be in very tangible terms, like during COVID, where we were such a major vaccine provider to the world. 100 countries got their vaccines because of us. But it could matter as a voice. The idea of a voice of a global south, the fact that we led the move for African Union to become a member of the G20. I use the word Bharat because I do believe that in the last decade there's been evolution, even a transformation of India. We are much more cognizant of our history, of our culture, of our heritage. We are more authentically us.